Welcome back to Fixing Furniture. Today is a celebration because we just reached 150,000 subscribers on YouTube. Thank you for your support. I'm going to share with you my journey of how I became a furniture restorer. It's a little bit of a long one. I spent over 20 years in the financial services and IT industry, and I've got a business degree. That might surprise you if you're familiar with our channel. I'm going to share some of the pivotal moments of how I became a furniture restorer, some of the key things that got me into furniture restoration, and how I built my skills. I'm also going to share with you some of my favorite projects. We've got over 100 videos on our YouTube channel, so I'm going to share some highlights and some things you haven't seen in those videos. So stick with me as I share the story of how I became a furniture restorer. I'm going to kick this off by sharing with you one of my favorite projects. We were hired by Trafalgar Castle to restore an important table for them. It was built in 1859 by Nelson Gilbert Reynolds, who was the Sheriff of Ontario. It was the largest private residence in North America when it was built, and it was the largest private residence in Canada before Casa Loma was built in Toronto in 1914. This table's in photographs with the original owner of this home. He lived there for 9 years. It had been damaged from many years of use. I took the table apart and brought it back to the workshop because it needed so much work. This project involved some wood turning and some restoration of the feet, as well as repairing the structure that was holding the base of the table. These were made from cross-grained pieces of wood, and the best wood that I could get them to match was white oak. It was a real challenge to cut through such hard wood with a scroll saw. I went through a lot of blades on this project. After much sanding and shaping, I was able to restore the shape, and then I went on to the finishing. Stain matching and finishing is one of those skills I've learned over the years, and something I'm planning to teach in an upcoming course. When the table was finished, we got to bring it back to the castle and see it in its final place. It's now ready to serve many more years in Trafalgar Castle. As I mentioned before, I spent many years in the financial services and technology industries. That has helped me develop skills that I use today here in the workshop, mainly problem solving. But to give you an idea of how I got to this place in my life, I need to take a step back before then to give you an idea of what this was about. When I was in high school, I participated in international woodworking competitions representing Canada in the United States Skill Olympics. So how did I end up in the financial services industry? Well, I enjoyed creating things, and whether it was with my hands with wood or with computers, I decided to pursue computers. So I went through university, got a business degree, and worked as a computer programmer for many years before I became a business analyst. When I first started my career, I was doing woodworking as a hobby, and I had an interest in expanding my skills. So I went to George Brown College and met with the program instructor for the woodworking program. And this was one of those pivotal moments. I brought my portfolio and said, this is the work that I've done. What classes do you have that can help me out? And he told me, well, you could teach all these classes. So I was then asking him, how can I work to build my skill? What can I do? And it was either go work for someone or start your own business and make things for clients. Requests from people that will push the skills and the builds that you would normally do in your own home. So that's what I did. In 1999, I started Wouldn't It Be Nice Custom Woodworking. This is what our shirts look like. It looks very similar to what we've got today, custom woodworking versus furniture repair. Now, that woodworking experience really stretched me. It took the skills that I had and I grew in directions I never anticipated. I learned more about finishing, I learned more about different furniture styles. So that really was a foundation for me. And I did that for 17 years as a part-time business. Now, another pivotal moment for me was when I was working with a furniture finisher. So I would design and build furniture for customers. I would then send it over to the furniture finisher who would put the stain and finish on it. And one day he approached me, knowing my skills, and said, I'm missing a table leaf for a table that I'm refinishing. Can you make one? So he brought me the table over and I made it, worked out well, and he was impressed. So then he brought me a broken chair and said, can you fix this? Well, those words, can you fix this, was transformational in my journey. It was a pivotal point because what I did was I started to understand how I could repair wood, and it was a journey that allowed me to build up a skill. Now that skill I became more confident in, enough that we transformed our business in 2016 from custom woodworking to furniture repair. Again, doing that as a part-time business, going through and getting more customers and experience. And what I did was I created a few YouTube videos to show and prove to customers that I had the skill. And that's where Fixing Furniture was born. This was an experience where I was documenting what I was doing, and it was starting to resonate with people. And the more comments that we got from people watching videos, the more I understood there's a real demand for people to understand this skill. So given my background in woodworking, I started sharing what I was learning and sharing the skills that I had to be able to repair furniture. The pivot from custom woodworking to furniture repairs was really driven by a couple of different things. As a custom woodworker, it's very difficult to find customers that are willing to pay a North American wage to design and build something, relative to what you can buy on the internet now. Over the 17 years I've been doing that, there's been a lot of evolution. The internet growing, companies like Wayfair where you can buy things very inexpensively, and having competition around the world, it makes custom woodworking a very difficult business to run. But when doing furniture repairs, it's always dealing with local people. In a couple rare cases, we've had things shipped to us, but it's very much a local business. So we're not competing with international wages because you're not going to ship something halfway around the world to have it repaired inexpensively to then ship back. It just doesn't make economic sense. The other part is I enjoy working on these shorter projects, more rewarding projects, and the problem solving around it. And problem solving is one thing that I've found from our members in our member program that really enjoy it as well. This broke. Why did it break? How do I solve this problem? How do I put it together in a way it's not going to break again? So it's a challenge that people enjoy when they're working on broken furniture. But just simply maintaining furniture, how to take a chair apart, for example, and put it back together again, it doesn't require as much problem-solving skills. That's very tangible. It can be very rewarding. A number of pieces have broken off, including this leg here that needs to be replaced. It's been so rewarding getting feedback from people telling us that they've been able to successfully repair furniture. And that's just encouraged us to share more and more. And that's why we educate people on furniture repair and restoration. There aren't many people in this industry that are my age or younger. Most of the people that I've met are in their 60s, 70s, and some even in their 80s. So we have a real passion here for teaching people about furniture repair and restoration. We believe this is a disappearing craft. So our efforts are here on YouTube to give you some free videos in terms of how you can repair things. But we also have education we provide on our Fixing Furniture website where we've got courses to teach you this as well. So if you want to check those out, check them out on fixingfurniture.com. Now, along the journey of me learning these skills, I've watched other YouTubers, Thomas Johnson, Addy from AT Restoration. They've been some people that I picked up a few things from. I've also read a lot of books about furniture repair and restoration. This isn't information that you can find on the internet. So those are skills that I picked up over time and techniques that I've built myself as I've been learning more and more. The idea, for example, of wood glue being reversed with vinegar was something that I came up with from research. It wasn't something I learned from anybody specifically. It's a process that I developed that's worked very well. And it also prevents the risk of burning something if you're using a heat gun. In 2023, we earned the play button from YouTube, and that's for having 100,000 subscribers on our Fixing Furniture YouTube channel. That exposure has helped us gain customers. We recently had a customer come from Montreal 3.5 hours to drop off a piece of furniture for repair. We've had a customer come from Hamilton 4 hours to drop off a piece of furniture. We've even had a customer ship their piece of furniture from Vancouver to here in Perth, Ontario, so I could repair the furniture for them. So it's helped our furniture business grow, but the reason that this business is coming to us is because people see the skill that we have in our workshop to be able to successfully and carefully restore furniture. It's really rewarding to have the confidence of people to give us their treasured antiques and be able to repair them for them and get them back in working order. Sometimes I refer to us or our business. My wife, Lori, she's a 50% owner in this business. And Lori's never on camera here. She's a little shy about that. But she does all the customer service, all the finance. She's a great business partner and a wonderful wife. And we've celebrated our 30-year anniversary recently. So the we is two people here in our business. And in 2024, I stopped working in the corporate world and we became full entrepreneurs. So Lori and I run this business. There's a number of things that we do in terms of education and products, but we're very happy to be working in this industry and being able to share the skills and expertise that we have. There's also a membership program that we have that people join. The members there are enjoying the camaraderie of others that have a similar interest. So if you're interested in checking that out, fixingfurniture.com, you can find out more information there. This chair fell off the back of a moving truck. So it was a severe break. A family member repaired it, but obviously not well enough. This is a very challenging repair. You might think that, hey, just drill a hole there, put a dowel in. That's not the right way to repair something like this. I've seen a number of failures and I've actually created a video that describes in detail why you should not be doing that. There's a number of people I want to thank that helped us get to this 150,000 subscriber mark. The first one is you, the viewer. Engaging in our videos, adding comments, liking, hyping, and subscribing has helped our channel grow, and we've got more exposure, and we were fortunate enough to have a sponsor for a year and a half. As we helped Kennedy Hardware grow their audience, they also helped us in terms of pushing us new project directions. Caning, as an example, was a requested video because Kennedy Hardware sells cane. We've developed some tools for caning, and we've sold those to customers around the world. Steamer trunks are also a project that Kennedy Hardware requested we do. They sell a number of pieces of hardware that help repair and restore steamer trunks. We've done several videos on those. So if you've got an old steamer trunk kicking around, check them out. I also owe a big thanks to my wife and my business partner, Lori. Lori is the love of my life, and she was the person that encouraged me to go full-time in 2024 for the two of us to run this business together. We're really enjoying it, and we love the support of others. We love the impact that we're having in our local community with customers and our impact with the global community to be able to help you learn about furniture repair and restoration. We love to hear the success stories of people that say, hey, I've been able to save this, or hey, I've been able to repair that. It's really rewarding for us. Some of the skills I picked up over the years were by watching makers. Curtis Buchanan, for example, a Windsor chair maker. Watching his videos was very entertaining, but it also educated me about the construction of chairs. Some of the skills I've learned from encouragement of others to try new things. For example, I went to an antique fair where I met a furniture restorer, and I was describing my challenge of not being able to find a router bit that would work on a chair that I was repairing and patching wood. She heard about my skills and she said, Scott, just believe in yourself. Start carving, do it by hand. So I went back to my workshop and I tried it, and it worked. With her background and understanding what I was looking to accomplish, she was confident I could do it, and lo and behold, I did. So pushing my boundaries is something that has helped me grow my skills. I've learned how to carve on my own. I've learned how to wood turn. I later had a professional wood turner give me some private instructions in my own workshop, which was helpful. I've learned finishing from a professional restorer who taught me various techniques to be able to duplicate colors using modern techniques and technologies. I've also extended my finishing knowledge by reading through some classic books. You might be surprised to learn there are some things you still can't learn on YouTube. We've got a finishing course coming up that includes stain matching. So go to our website, register for our newsletter, and you can learn about that when it comes out. I feel very fortunate to be one of the people that loves to do what I do. I wake up in the morning, come into the workshop, be able to do furniture restoration, and also teach people about how to do this. because as I said before, I believe this is a disappearing craft and I want more and more people to learn how to repair furniture. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you've got questions, put them below in the comments, and thank you for watching Fixing Furniture.